Ready?
Yeah.
Turning knobs into bows, keeping my keys on a catgut-like cord, counting the buttons till my fingers are too sore. Leave me in the dark, let me ride out this storm. You're the battle on the rose, I'm the blood upon the thorn. You know in 5 minutes I'll be wrapped up in your charms. Count me like the trinkets on the bracelet on your arm. Pages of this book are folded at the edge, underline the words that we've not read yet. Memories are flashing in the corner of my eye, fleeting like color tonight.
Good morning, folks. It's a scorcher here in Aberdeenshire. Really hot day, so we've been trying to get sort of watering and everything done quite early so that the plants are hydrated. And we've moved the goats up to the north field so that they've got some adequate shade for today, because it's a hot one for us in Scotland. Not quite sure what we're going to get up to today. We've got many and varied jobs on as usual. We've got more brassica beds to prepare. That's digging out any weeds, putting on some muck, giving it a light till, putting on landscape fabric, and getting it ready for planting when it's a bit cooler. We've got to reinstate a fence that we started to remove a few days ago around the market garden because we're extending the fence line, so we've got to put that fence back in. We've got a delivery of some organic oats that Rosa uses to feed the goats that's arriving this morning, so I've got to go and hook up the trailer so that we can put these sacks into the trailer and take them to our store shed. I've been cutting a lot of grass over the last few days. We've cut the grass in our future hayfield in the Westfield, in the north of the Westfield, and that's to get rid of the dead grass that's gathered up, and hopefully we've done it in time that the new grass can grow and we might get some sort of hay crop. So yeah, pretty busy, and it's very hot, so that kind of might zap our energy a bit, but got this beautiful view to look at right where I am just now, up at the sauna pond. So yeah, we better go and get the trailer ready for this delivery of oats and then grab some breakfast. Hey folks, so with this beautiful hot day, we decided it's a perfect day to head on up to our pond, which is at the highest point of our property, and we're going to start raking out some of the pondweed which is forming. It kind of culminates over the years and we end up with quite a thick layer of pondweed which basically stops us from swimming. But actually no, the real reason that we need to get rid of it is that it can block up our pipe that we have in the pond. That's the pipe that brings the water down to all the gardens and animals, etc. So we need to remove some of the pondweed that floats on the surface so that the pipes don't get bunged up. Yeah, it also means that we get a nice clean pond to have a swim in now and again when we have the rare days like this. So Rose and I are heading up there just now. We'll get our little raft out, take a float on the water, and we'll see if we can pull out some of the pondweed, which we'll then use to mulch the garden with. We have a pipe in this pond which gravity feeds water down to the market garden and down to all the animals. So it's important that that water is flowing, and right now it's not really flowing, and we think the reason is that there's quite a build-up of pondweed floating on the surface of the pond, and we think it's probably blocking up our filter. We've got a homemade filter which has a milk bottle float, and I think we've got to get in there, and not only have we got to fix the filter, but it'll probably help to start removing some of this pondweed. And today Mum's up giving us a hand as well, because it was her great invention making this. You got your hat tied on with a piece of string there, Mum.
Yes, it kept blowing off.
Great.
I thought we might need it to tie the thing on. There's a piece of wire over the end of the hose, a bit like a construction for a lampshade, and I used an old pair of tights before, but they keep rotting. So I'm going to try this mesh instead and put it over the end, and hopefully the water will then go down the pipe without any weeds.
So what's the full setup for the pipe that we've got in the water?
It's just a hose pipe, and it runs from the pond all the way down so that we can get water for filling up the tanks and for water for the animals or whatever we need it for.
So we might end up taking a dip in the water just now to be able to really get in and clear a lot of the weed, but I think first of all we're going to try taking out our barrel raft which we've got here, and Rosa and I can jump in that with a couple of rakes and just rake the weed together, put it in the barrel raft around our feet, and then we can take the weed out and take it to where we want it to compost down. It is warm enough, believe it or not, here in Scotland to take a swim right now in this very cold pond. Alright, that's one load of pondweed brought out of the pond using our barrel raft. It's going to be a bit of slow work, and Mum is guddling about with the filter. What's the update, Mum?
We've lost the sort of wire cage and the stone that weights it down, and the wire cage that keeps the net from sucking against the pipe too much. That's come off somewhere. So I've just put the bag over the end, the mesh bag over the end. But now I need a stone to keep it weighted down so it doesn't rise up and suck air. So I thought I could use this string, and then we can put the float on again when we've got enough. Well, I could use the string from my hat. Can you find me a stone?
Racing.
Thank you.
Alright, that's one load of pondweed out of the pond. We're kind of learning what technique to use, but using these grass rakes to rake the pondweed out into the boat around our feet, which we're lucky it's a nice warm day because it's pretty cool water, and then bringing the raft to the edge of the pond and standing and just chucking out the weed and making a pile at the edge of the pond here. So time to go in for one more round, just making use of the sun while we've got it.
We're just going to bail out all the water that we brought into the raft, otherwise we'll sink when we go back in. So, can I get a bucket?
That's us been messing about in the boat. We've got a couple of loads of the pondweed out. So Mum fixed up the filter and the water is running into the IBC tank nicely now.
I'm standing on the bank, so
You look taller.
Oh.
Whoa. So we're going to go and get on with our afternoon chores now. I think our intern Ebba and her boyfriend are going to maybe carry on a bit with this pond job for us.
Yeah.
We've got to water and do the goats. So we'll carry on with it over the next wee while.